Hey guys, as we continue in this series of mental health and suicide, I would like to speak about depression. A lot of people define sadness as depression. They will say they feel, if they've been in a space where they've been sad for so long, unhappy basically. If you're unhappy, that means you are pretty much sad, not happy. People say they are depressed, but depression is deeper than that. And for me, if you don't think about it from a mental health perspective, what is a depression? If you were drawing a line and you needed to draw to illustrate a depression, it is a dip, right? If you were, actually, let me show you something that I drew, and I hope it will be clear. It's here in my notes. Oh my God. Oh, there it is. So what I've put in my notes there is that the dips, the ones that are, so there's a line in the middle. It's upside down for you. So it says normal. That would be a normal line. No one is normal. Nobody is a straight line. But above the line, where there's I've drawn the lines crossing through. Above the line and below the normal line, there is a space that we generally fall in. So there are days when we are feeling higher, there are days when we are feeling lower, and that is normal. So normal is a range of highs and lows. Not too high and not too low, even though we can have very highs and very lows, but we do not stay there for too long. Now, when you stay in a high for too long, then you get into what we can call mania. Mania is the part at the top of the hill where I have put the dots. And then if you stay in a place of sadness, anger, whatever, then you get into the depressive state. You're defined as depressive when you've actually entered the hole. Like you've gone down and stayed in that. If you have drawn a line and then the illustration of a depression, now you have stayed in that depression long enough to say, I am depressed. Otherwise, when you just dip into it, it is just that. You dipped into sadness and you came out. So you can't say, I am depressed, because it was poop out. That's normal. Dip, spike up into mania and come back down. That is normal. But to actually define yourself as having stayed in that bottom curve, that is now depression. So I thought to myself, let me go and find out what the English dictionary says about depression. It is, the first one that I checked was, it is a severe despondency or dejection. First of all, I was like, why are you using words like that? Like, if I'm looking for what I'm feeling, how do you say it's severe despondency or dejection? Anyway, another one said it's a persistent feeling of sadness or loss of interest. This is simplified, but I think it's oversimplified because it's talking about the actual symptoms, like feeling of sadness, and then talking about the low interest. Those are just two symptoms of depression. Then for me, it's a culmination of a lot of feelings, because one feeling is the dip, one feeling is the spike. Many of them becomes too much and too heavy that you're not spiking back up, you're not shooting back up. Now you're staying in that bottom curve and you are depressed. So I went ahead and got a list of some of these symptoms. Sadness. Anger. It's very rare that someone says a person who's always angry is depressed, because we relate depression to sadness. So anger, anxiety. Anxiety is normally set aside as a different condition from depression. But if you are anxious, because anxious is a real thing, to say I am depressed today means it's not like for 2 minutes I was sad. It means the whole day, or for the most part of your day, you have been low, okay? Whereas anxiety, you can say, oops, I'm anxious about this meeting that I'm going to, or I'm anxious about, someone says they're going to call me back in 5 minutes and I know why they're going to call me. So I'm anxious. So you can be anxious in a short period. You can't say I'm depressed because someone is going to call me for 5 minutes. So depression is a longer. So anxiety, feeling tired like for prolonged periods or lethargic, low motivation. You can't say, oh, I'm not motivated for 2 minutes. No, low motivation. By the time you define yourself as having low motivation, it's been going on. Like yesterday you did want to, the other day you didn't want to, again and again, you're like, you know what, I'm not motivated to do that. And yes, it can be short, but for you to, right now I'm not motivated to cook. Yes, but for you to say, I have low motivation, it is, I've not wanted to cook for a long time. Then sleep issues. Yes, there are days when you don't sleep. You don't feel like sleeping. There are days when you want to sleep and for some reason you don't have sleep. Maybe you are stressed later in the evening. Maybe you had a coffee at the wrong time. Maybe you had some alcohol. Or maybe you watched a movie with so many gunshots or some, serious action movie that really got you all worked up, because that does. And some people don't realize, even though when they can't sleep, they end up watching those movies which wake them up even more. So for you to say, I have issues sleeping, it has to be over a period. Then aches and pains. Yes, you can have an ache today, a pain tomorrow. But for you to say, it seems my aches and pains are due to depression, it has to have gone on for a long enough time and with no real explanation. Like you can't say it's because you sat badly. It's not because I fell down or somebody kicked me, and so on and so forth. So it's that negative thoughts. I can have negative thoughts now. I can feel like, oh my God, what I'm saying, I don't think people are going to take it. Who are you to say all these things, Jerry? But if I say it every day and I'm not putting out content because I'm doubting myself, at the time that I prepare and put the information together, I feel all pumped, then negative thoughts kick in. So I never put it out. Then I say, I always have negative thoughts. So the culmination of those things is what leads to depression. Now, I went ahead and I said, so what is it to depress? That depress, what does it mean? And this definition is spot on, speaking to what I wanted to talk about. To make one utterly dispirited or dejected. Dispirited, this is where I was going. To make someone utterly dispirited or dejected. Fantastic. I asked, what is dispirited? I clicked on the dispirited word, it was underlined, and it said a loss of enthusiasm or hope. Okay. Dejected, what does that mean? Sad or dispirited. So dejected took us back to dispirited. And for me, in my notes, because I just made these now, they just dashed to the internet so that I can share what I have. Depression is emptiness. It is a deep feeling of emptiness, and I've never been depressed, but I've heard people talk about it and how they feel empty. So I wanted to say that the feeling of emptiness comes from your spirit not being inside of you. It's like your spirit has gone, it has taken leave. So for me to go and find the definition that says to make one utterly dispirited or dejected is bang on what I wanted to talk about. So it has given me the courage. When we have no spirit, we feel empty. Because this body is empty, a spirit, a soul, then is fed inside of it. Now, when we feel empty, it's like our soul is not there. Our spirit is not there. That is depression. That is dejection. That is feeling like I feel nothing. So, there is an awareness that I'm feeling nothing. But with that awareness is so many other symptoms. okay? And the symptoms that I have just read. It could start out as sadness, deep sadness that you stay in for too long. You enter the dip. You dip and you stay in the dip for too long. You're so sad, and then at some point you get angry. Like when I lost my brother, when I lost my dear brother Timothy, that was like the first real deep loss that I've experienced. I was sad. Luckily for me, everything lasted to a very, very short time, exactly 13 days, before I miraculously got a message from him and from God and from so many different people that took my grief away. So I was sad, but also I was angry with God. And because I was angry with God, I allowed myself to express that anger. Like I went at God properly and hard. And at that point, I was like, I hate you so much for what you have done. But I also know that you're so powerful, you can just snap your finger and I die. So I'm going to sit here as the small, minute, nothing being that I am, and I let you do your thing because you took my brother. And God was like, thank you, child, for expressing yourself. I think now I can speak to you and speak freely. And God went ahead and spoke to me. Now, in this case here, the person is aware that they are empty. Okay? They are also aware of life around them. They're aware that there's a need for them to go to work. In fact, some of them will attempt to go to work. They'll get up, they'll dress up, they'll not leave the house. They are aware of who they normally were. They are not lost. It's not lost on them that they had a certain character, or they have a certain character that is them, that they play every day when they go out, when they're fine. That is why when they are out with you, they are normal, because they know what normal is, and they know how to animate themselves as normal again. Why? Because they know what the expectation is of other people. They know that when we go to the club, we're going to be happy, we're going to dance, we're going to drink, and we're going to do all these things. They will do it because they know that that is what is expected of them. They know that when they're at the workplace, they have to present themselves. They know, they have in their brains the knowledge that they have to use to present, to give a presentation. This gentleman, so sad, he had a talk on the 7th of June, yeah? And he's been going to work every day. He went and rented an apartment. He knew, he was fully aware. He was fully aware. And yet, I don't know, but when a person is depressed, I can't say he was depressed because I don't want to speak of what I do not know when it comes to him. But when a person is depressed, there is that emptiness, that void inside of them that they are fully aware of. And it's only them who know what it is. So because of what people expect, you give it to them so that they're not hounding you. They're not in your ear asking questions that they're not ready to support you with. So they keep quiet. Okay? Now, when they go back home, they go back to their emptiness. They go back to their emptiness. To that place where nothing makes sense. Okay? When I had that little stint, minutes of, I hate this world, oh my God, why am I here? Why am I even here? Like, what are we here? Let me ask a question. What are we here for? I used to think to myself, life doesn't make sense. Wake up in the morning, you're born. You cry, you're fed. Sometimes they forget to feed you. Like, you're at their mercy, your mother's mercy, or the nanny, or your siblings, whoever. Then you grow up, you go to school. You learn things, you do tests. As you learn, you go to the next level. Learning never stops. You grow up, you're an adult. You've been through adolescence. You've been through all these things. For what? Okay, then you get a job. You work every day, you make money. There's no time for yourself because in the morning you have to wake up and go to work. There's no time to experience the world because you have to make money. When you make money, you have to pay for power. You have to pay for the transport that brings you back home. Then you want to go on a holiday. You can only take a week. You go. You want to experience. You come back more exhausted than you went. Now you need a break from the break, but no one is going to give you the break because you need to go back to work. You're tired every day. Then you grow old. They say it's time you retire and now you can enjoy yourself, but you're too old to enjoy. Now you're dying and you have all manner of diseases, then you die. What is the point? Somebody please tell me why we are here, because it doesn't make sense to me. And then somewhere along the way, other people die, your friends die, family members, loved ones die before you, and then you're in pain. What is the point? For a person who is depressed, these thoughts just tip you over. So, when they're in that state, that void is going to be filled sooner or later, because nothing can be a vacuum in this world. Nothing. That void is going to be filled sooner or later. And because you're in a low vibrational place, it's going to be filled with more and more low vibrational entities coming and telling you and reaffirming to you that you're fake, that you're lousy, that you don't have this, you don't meet. Yes, you may be intelligent. Yes, you may have all the money, but still you don't measure up in places X, Y, Z. And that is where your focus is going to be. You come out, you do all the great things, but you go back and you know that you cannot measure up in certain places. Then you start asking, but why can't I? Why can't I? Why can't I? Why can't I? Why didn't I? Why? Then the big, fat, solid question sets in. What is the point? What is the point? What is the point of all this? What is the point of getting out of bed? What is the point of going to work? What is the point of existing? What is the point? Then that one entity will come and drop the seed in good, fertile soil. How about you leave? Then you say, yeah, what is the point? Why don't I just leave? Now you've put words to the seed. And now you own it. You own it with emotion. Why? Why? What's the point of all this suffering? What's the point of living? What's the point of this pain? What is the point of everything? Why don't I just leave? Depending on how deep and dark your space is. You sit in there and that seed starts to gain root. It gains root so much that it is hard to remove. Now, for so many people, you learn to live with your seed. You learn to live with your plant, with your tree. You go out, you work, whatever, you come back and you know that your suicide thoughts are there. When it's too much, you go and talk to people. They help you. But otherwise, you know what to do. You know what to do. But I wanted to just talk about depression. It is sadness for too long that starts to invite buddies. The spirit of sadness, the spirit of fear, the spirit of anger, the spirit of dejection, they are spirits. We talk about them, we pray about them, but then we act like they're not there. We say all the time, the spirit of God knows what. So we talk about all these spirits. When we are praying, when we are in church, the spirit of this, the spirit of that. Then when someone starts saying, you know, it's a spirit. No, it's not a spirit. That's demonic stuff. That's demonic talk. Well, we are spirit beings having a spiritual experience in a physical body and world. So where is the spirit? Who is paying attention to what is happening to our spirits? I'm going to post another one. Please feel free to share your comments. I know that what I'm saying is mine, my interpretation, my truth, because my God, for me it is truth. Share yours. If you do not agree with me, I call you to please say as much so that we can have dialogue. Tell me what you believe. Share yours, but also if you feel like this might help somebody, share it. Share it in your circles. Let us spread this word. Let us normalize this conversation so that we can help one another. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, like and let us continue this. Thank you.